Well, ladies and gentlemen, we may have another Arc situation. Now, if you remember, we had Arc on the Switch, and it was just a mess visually, performance, everything. Pretty much everything was bad. Borderline unplayable for a lot of people. And here we are now with another game that is kind of making the rounds with some controversy. And I figured, you know what? Let's actually check this game out and see what it's about here. This is called Xenon Racer. I've purchased it outright. It was $49.99, so it's not a cheap purchase if you go on the eShop and buy it, which might not sit well with a lot of people because it's not easy to get a refund from Nintendo. Most times they'll give you like one if you call in, and there's no way to leave a review or a rating on the page for Xenon Racer, which I think is still a problem, and Nintendo needs to figure that out soon because of the amount of games that are just hitting the eShop constantly. It's hard to keep track. It's hard to tell if it's good or not because we're now running into an issue where people are pointing out that screenshots and video that is shown, okay, is not necessarily representative of what you're actually going to get. So I was looking over these screenshots, and yeah, I don't think this is the version of the game that you buy here because I played some of it. It's flat out embarrassing, to be honest. The game, the way it plays, the way it looks. They said a patch is coming, but I don't really know why it wouldn't have just been done in the first place, or even if that patch is really going to do anything about it. I'll have to follow up on this. But I'll tell you now, I would not recommend buying Xenon Racer when a game like Fast RMX, for example, exists on the system and is way better in terms of visuals, performance, everything. So let me actually show you this trailer very quickly, and then we'll get into the game, and you can kind of decide for yourself, as a lot of people are currently talking about it, if there is an issue with what they show you on the page versus what you actually get. So this is, as you saw, done by Sedesco. We're going through just some of the shots. Now, of course, most times they can get away with it by saying not representative of actual gameplay or something like that, right? And most of the time, we understand because it's like a 3D, you know, it's fully rendered and everything as like a cutscene that, you know, we're used to from like back in the day. And we get, you know, it's not going to look exactly like that. Like when they showed Ultimate Alliance 3 for the first time, and it was a lot of pre-rendered cutscenes, we kind of figured. But like this, I mean, looks more or less kind of like gameplay from what they're showing, and people kind of bought into that and said, oh wow, this looks pretty cool. So let's go back. Let's actually play the game. So I'll enjoy a good racing game from time to time. I liked the latest Forza Horizon 4. I thought that was awesome. When the Switch first came out and we had Fast RMX, I thought that was great as well. And then, of course, Mario Kart and Gran Turismo actually on the PlayStation with VR is kind of neat to try out. So when I saw this game, I thought it was supposed to be kind of a high-speed racing, almost like F-Zero, but maybe not quite as fast type game. And yeah, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. Let me go ahead and jump into edge mode here. And they're kind of showing the car here, and you might be noticing it looks kind of choppy. The game itself, I feel like runs like in like the 20s for frame rate, which isn't good for a racing game, obviously. But the weirdest issue that I've seen with this game, let's use the green car. The weirdest issue I've seen with this game, one is the load times are very, very long, but the pop-in is insane. Like, this is pop-in that I remember from like the GameCube days, and it might have not been as bad then even. Like, pop in this, you'll see it right away. It's actually distracting, to be honest, when you're playing it. It's to the point where, like, if you're driving around a bend and you're looking forward, usually they have like arrows, right? In like other racing games, they're like, oh, you're gonna go left up here, you know, big blinking lights saying go left. Those pop in when you're like 20 feet from them in the game, and it's really weird. I don't know why the pop-in is so bad. This is a game built on Unreal Engine. Visually, it's not very good. There's like no anti-aliasing at all. Like, there's aliasing everywhere. Everything looks super low polygon, and I'm gonna say it looks kind of like a late gen PS2 game, early 360 game, I guess is what you'd say. So here's a car. We're gonna do some racing.
Let's
And we're going to kind of make our way around here. Something about the handling, too. I don't really know what it is about the handling. But, like, I mean, look right in front of me. Like, well, there's the shadow popping in, but, like, do you see the double yellow lines? Like, popping in as we go. At first, I was like, oh, maybe that's like a driver assist line. No, that's the double lines. So here are the flashing arrows that I'm talking about. Let me back up a little bit here. And we can actually get it to the point where it will disappear right there. And we can actually have it pop in as we get closer. And that does get distracting because you definitely notice pop in all over the place. So here's the issue that we're running into right now. Obviously, what we saw on the eShop, right, is not representative of what we just bought here for $50. That's kind of the issue that we have right now. The game itself feels generic to me anyway. It does. It feels like a generic racing game, but I feel like if this was, like, visually the way this looks, this thing should be running 60 frames per second the way it looks, right? I mean, Mario Kart looks better, Fast RMX looks better, those are both 60 frames per second games. I don't know why, even, like, Gear Club looks better than this, and I know that's 30 frames, but it looks better, and it's using, like, you know, actual cars, but it looks better. It doesn't have this weird pop, and it doesn't handle like this. Like, it feels like, I don't know if these are like on ice or something, but like the turning's not great. And I feel like that could be linked to the juddery frame rate, and like you can see the shadow pop in there. It's more or less just distracting, I think, is the biggest problem. They say a patch is coming. I question the ability for a patch to fix this game or get it to where it needs to be for it to be acceptable, let alone for $50. I mean, consider that. The game I'm playing right now was a $50 purchase. It does have online multiplayer. It has, like, its Grand Prix mode and everything. So it has, like, racing options, has some unlockable cars, but I feel like the port is really bad or something went wrong here. And I once again look at this and I see an issue with the eShop when it comes to this. I wonder, okay, this is just a question I put out there. I wonder if they would have put this game on the eShop in this way, like in this form, if people were able to leave comments or star ratings or written reviews directly on the page saying what this game was and how it played. I wonder if they would have just delayed it, right? We see Steam get hit hard at times with games, and people can leave reviews, and those do help. They also can, of course, cause issue with review bombing, but a lot of times when review bombing happens, there's a reason for it in some way, probably outside of the game. But I feel like at this point, the pros outweigh the cons of having a written review. I mean, we yell about the Epic Store not having reviews, like user reviews, all the time, so I don't really know why it would be any different for the eShop, considering the eShop's been around as long as it has. Nintendo toyed around with that idea for a while, and then they stopped for some reason. I'm not sure. So that's something I would like to see, because this is just yet another game. I mean, you can just see the last time I remember popping like that was from the PS2 and the GameCube era, and we see games run way better on the Switch for racing games that look better. So I just see this as just a bad port that was dropped on there by the developer for $50, and it's up to people outside of the eShop to tell other people about this thing, and unfortunately it hasn't gone around as much, and that's really why I wanted to check it out for myself, in hopes of seeing if there was just it being overblown, or if there is an issue here. I think there's an issue here, so I'll follow up with this, okay? In April, they say there's supposed to be a patch. That patch shouldn't be needed because the game obviously should be fine when it comes out. In this state for $50, I think is unacceptable, of course. So we'll check it out when it comes out, okay? And I'll post up on Twitter. So if you're not following me on Twitter, you can follow me on there, and we can see if it gets any better. I have boost as well. You can also crash your, like, if you have too much damage on your car, and yeah. I tried to turn off boost. I don't know if it's the same button, but I've played around with the game, and it's just, it doesn't feel that great handling-wise. It really struggles to handle. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this down below, though. You think it's an issue that the developers put it on there like this? Do you think that Nintendo needs to really incorporate that review star something? Some way to tell people if a game like this is broken, just with the amount of games on. I mean, this is $50. Think about it that way. You could actually buy a lot of games on the eShop for $50. Like, I mean, like, cumulatively, you know, you got games like Stardew Valley on there, Fast RMX, and you still have money left over, yeah, to buy some more games. So, yeah, it's a shame that this game came out the way it did. It's a shame they represented it the way they did on the eShop as well, with the screenshots and videos and everything, because there's no way to really do anything in the options menu either. To like, you know, they also have photo modes. That's fun. You can zoom in on it. If I zoom in on it in photo mode, oh man, let me see. So I figured they would at least do something to make it look a bit better, but it doesn't help any. Like, you just see like the wheels, for example. It's just, yeah, it doesn't. That's supposed to be it looking better. What a shame. That's Xenon Racer, though. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. I'm very curious. Make sure you like the video if you liked it. Dislike if not. I hope this helped you decide if you should buy the game. I think there are better options, right? And $50, I think it's overpriced and it shouldn't be there in its current form. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.